My dear brothers and sisters, today's Sunday calls to recall or realize who is our Master. Jesus says, no one can serve two masters. And two masters are very clearly mentioned in the last verse of the Gospel. You cannot serve God and money. So it's a day for us to realize, where do we really invest? Are we investing ourselves for the riches of this world? Or are we investing for the eternal life? God has blessed us, and all the blessings, the earthly riches, and all other that we hold on to, take us towards God, towards eternal life. Jesus says, if you are unfaithful to little things, how can you be entrusted with more? And so, what is entrusted to you also will be taken away. So, little things are little things, but we need to be faithful to the little things. Now, what are the real riches that will take us towards God? It's not our bank balance. It's not the power and position that we hold on to. It is not the beautiful house we own. And so we need to realize what is the real riches and why God has blessed us with all these riches. St. Francis of Assisi, on his way to Apulia, he was going to Apulia in order to become a knight, a soldier. He was pursuing his dreams of acquiring more position in the society, that people need to respect him. It was his aim as a young man. And on the way to Apulia, in the night, he gets a dream, or he hears a voice asking him, whom do you want to serve, the master or the servant? Francis did not go to Apulia. Rather, he returns back and he prays and meditates on these words to realize what is real riches. Francis goes to his father's shop, and thereby he was distributing all the clothes kept for selling to the poor and the needy people. He was realizing what it means to be rich. And at certain circumstance, in front of bishop, he removes his own cloth and he will hand it over to his father, Peter Bernardone, and he says, so far I had you as my father. Now I have only one Father who is in heaven. Naked, standing before bishop and before his relatives, Francis renounces even his own clothes and he embraces Jesus Christ. Very often, St. Francis would address Jesus as poor, humble, crucified Christ. So Jesus is poor, humble, and crucified. Therefore, there is no need of holding on to riches. Rather, we need to follow him by emptying ourselves totally. So the question is being asked to us, do you want to serve the master or the servant? Jesus says, little things are little things, and we need to be faithful to that little things entrusted to us. And what are the small little things God has entrusted to us? When we speak about it, it is not the money, or it is not our bank balance, or it is not the houses that we own. Rather, it is our own family members. It is our own children, the real riches. And if we invest the riches in them, then we are going to be in eternal life. And so in loving our own life partner, caring for our own children, thereby we are going ahead to our Father who is in heaven. So my dear brothers and sisters, real investment we need to look and see. How much time do we give to our family? How much time do we give to our own children? How faithful are we in living our vocation in the family? Jesus says, love one another as I have loved you. And how did Jesus love us? Just look at the cross. That is how Jesus has loved us. He gave himself totally. In the second reading we heard, St. Paul says, Jesus gave himself as a ransom for many. He gave up his life on the cross. He was born in a manger. Remember, he is the only begotten Son of the mighty God, powerful God, but he was born in a manger. He died on the cross, no place to lay his head. And so he was breaking himself. He was oozing even his last drop of blood to redeem us. He was breaking himself and giving us life in abundance. That is why in the gospel acclamation we sang, Jesus became poor for our sake, that through his poverty we may become rich. And what sort of riches that Jesus is talking about? The real riches are our family, our attitude, our own brothers and sisters. We need to invest our time, our love, and for our family. Thereby, we are progressing towards the eternal life. And so, the real riches are not what we hold on to, rather what we give. If we give our money, if we give our talent, if we give our every opportunity for serving humanity, for saving one another, for loving one another, thereby we are progressing towards God. Therefore, St. Francis would say, it is in giving that we receive. The more we give up of ourselves, we tend to reach God. Therefore, in the first reading very clearly, Prophet Amos says that the authorities and people in position were taking advantage of the poor, extracting more taxes. And so they were looting the poor people and gaining a fortune for themselves. So miserable things happening. And so Amos was warning all people in the position, especially tax collectors and other people who were looting. And when we come to the responsorial psalm, we see God was always with the poor. He lifted the poor from the dust. From the heap of ashes, he raises them up. And so when we look at today's world, we see so much of distinction between the poor and the rich. We have enough and sufficient to feed on to the whole world. Enough and sufficient is produced by this earth and even our own efforts. But when we are greedy, grabbing more and more, we are grabbing from the unfortunate people. Thereby, God is telling us the real riches that can take us towards God is giving, even giving our own possession, giving our own money, not holding up for greater investment and so on. So today's gospel is calling us to give ourselves totally to the Lord, give ourselves for our own brothers and sisters, do away with our selfishness, do away with our ego, thereby invest in the real riches. And so we are all humble and simple, and God has entrusted lot of talents to us. He has given us lots of possession. He has given us lot of opportunities, and all these we have to use for the welfare of our own brothers and sisters. We have to use it for the welfare of our own life partner. Say yes to love, say yes to God, and let us do away with undue attachment. So my dear brothers and sisters, let us set God as our first priority, and thereby we invest in God, we invest in love, we invest in charity that can become real riches which would take us all towards heaven.